Have you ever felt stuck in a loop, doing the same things over and over, only to get the same results? What if I told you that the key to breaking free isn't working harder, it's thinking differently? But here's the catch. Most people don't even realize they're trapped in a box. So, what does it really mean to think outside the box? And why is it one of the most critical skills you can develop for your future? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll not only understand it, you'll know how to start doing it. Let's get one thing straight. Thinking outside the box isn't just some fancy phrase people throw around to sound smart. It's a skill that can change the way you solve problems, make decisions, and even how you see the world. Whether you're a student trying to ace that project, a professional looking to stand out at work, or just someone who wants to get better at navigating life, this skill is your secret weapon. But here's the thing. It's not something you're born with. It's something you learn, practice, and master. And today, we're going to break it all down for you. Here's the reality. Most of us are conditioned to think in a certain way. From the time we're kids, we're taught to follow rules, stick to the plan, and color inside the lines. And while that might work in some situations, it doesn't exactly set you up for innovation or creativity. Think about it. When was the last time you faced a problem and immediately knew the answer? Probably never, right? That's because the problems we face today, whether at school, at work, or in life, are more complex than ever. And solving them requires more than just following a set of instructions. But here's the challenge. Our brains are wired to take the path of least resistance. We default to what's familiar, what's safe, and what's easy. And that's exactly what keeps us stuck in the box. So how do you break out of that? How do you train your brain to see possibilities instead of limitations? That's what we're diving into next. First, let's talk about what thinking outside the box actually means. It's not about being weird or random for the sake of it. It's about challenging assumptions, questioning the status quo, and looking at things from a completely different perspective. It's about asking what if, instead of saying, that's just how it's done. Take a second and think about this. Every major breakthrough in history, whether it's the invention of the light bulb, the creation of the internet, or even the way companies like Airbnb or Uber revolutionized their industries, came from someone thinking outside the box. They didn't just accept the way things were, they asked, why not? But here's the thing. Thinking outside the box isn't just for geniuses or entrepreneurs. It's for anyone who wants to get better at solving problems, coming up with new ideas, or just seeing the world in a different way. And the best part? It's a skill you can develop. So how do you do it? Let's break it down into 7 practical steps. Every time you face a problem, ask yourself, what am I assuming here? For example, if you're working on a group project and everyone's stuck, maybe the assumption is that you have to follow the traditional approach. But what if you didn't? What if you tried something completely different? Try looking at the problem from someone else's point of view. If you're a student, think like a teacher. If you're an employee, think like a customer. Sometimes all it takes is a change in perspective to see a solution you never would have thought of. This might sound counterintuitive, but constraints can actually fuel creativity. When you have limited resources or time, it forces you to think differently. Instead of seeing constraints as obstacles, see them as opportunities to innovate. This is one of the simplest yet most powerful ways to break out of conventional thinking. For example, if you're working on a marketing campaign, ask yourself, what if we targeted a completely different audience? Or what if we used a medium no one else is using? These questions force you to explore possibilities you might not have considered otherwise. One of the biggest reasons people get stuck in the box is because they're surrounded by people who think the same way they do. If you want to think differently, you need to expose yourself to different ideas, cultures, and ways of thinking. This could mean joining a new community, reading books outside your usual genre, or even just having a conversation with someone who has a completely different background than you. When you're trying to come up with new ideas, don't immediately shoot them down because they seem unrealistic or silly. Some of the best ideas start out as crazy ones. Give yourself permission to think freely, without worrying about whether it's practical or not. You can always refine your ideas later. Sometimes the best ideas come when you're not actively trying to think of them. If you're stuck on a problem, step away from it for a while. Go for a walk, take a shower, or just daydream. Your brain works in mysterious ways, and often the solution will come to you when you least expect it. Now, here's the moment of truth. Thinking outside the box isn't just about coming up with wild ideas. It's about taking those ideas and turning them into action. Because here's the thing, ideas are worthless if they stay in your head. The real magic happens when you take that first step, no matter how small, to bring your idea to life. Think about it. Every big idea started as a small, seemingly insignificant thought, but it was the person who acted on it that made all the difference. So what's stopping you? What's that one idea you've been sitting on because it feels too out there, too different, or too risky? What if today was the day you decided to give it a shot? All right, let's wrap this up. Thinking outside the box isn't just a nice-to-have skill, it's a must-have if you want to thrive in today's world. It's about breaking free from the limitations of conventional thinking and opening yourself up to new possibilities. It's about challenging assumptions, shifting perspectives, and embracing constraints as opportunities. But here's the most important takeaway. This isn't something you do once and forget about. It's a mindset. It's a way of approaching problems, decisions, and even everyday life. And the more you practice it, the better you'll get. So, what's your next move? What's one problem or challenge you're facing right now that could use a little out-of-the-box thinking? Drop a comment below and let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Future Skills for more tips and guidance on personal development and future skills. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next.